I don't know how.
Okay,
There we
beautiful.
are.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to Unboxed with Lucky Vibrations with Amanda and Andrea. Woo. So, first episode. So we are here today to offer up a space to our community. Um, right now, our mission is to give our people a voice. So we've all going through this journey. We all have a story. And I think it's important that we are able to share that story. So we have people in this space that are extremely well known, and they get to share their stories on, all the platforms. People know who they are, but we also have regular, everyday individuals who have taken this journey and also, I feel, deserve a space to speak on what it took for them to get to where they are today. So, the people that we're going to have on this channel are going to be everyday regular people. They may or may not have something to offer you as far as product wise, but if they don't have anything like that, it's really just going to be them offering their life journey to you, and hopefully you can find some peace and some clarity through what somebody else has gone through. So that is what Unboxed with Lucky Vibrations is all about. We are a judgment free zone. Don't put anybody in a box, because really you don't know what anybody has gone through to get to where they are. So here we are. So this is Miss Andrea. She is co-host, co-owner. She does all the background fun stuff to get this podcast up and running. And again, my name is Amanda. And
Yeah.
I will be the host of the show, interviewing all the people. So, the very first person to be a guest of Lucky Vibrations is Miss Andrea. So, Andrea, thank you for doing this project with me.
Yes.
So excited to get
Yeah.
your story out there and to share it with the people. So, um, we have put together a list of important questions that I think will help give people an idea of how you've been. So I'll let you just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes. So, hey, everybody. I am Andrea, um, Mama Bear, creative, wifey. Just want to put that out there. But my intention in this space is for all of us to just be beacons, nodes, and hubs for one another. For all of us to be bridges to one another. And to share our stories, like we've all been through things, but how beautiful would it be to allow other people to hear that and to connect with you from a real and authentic space? So, I'm super excited to be here. It's been a long time coming, and yes, I'm super excited, super happy, thrilled to be in this space with Amanda. We've come such a long way, and just to have things come forth full circle in this way is beautiful. So,
Yes, one day we'll share the story of how we met. But I don't know. I don't even know how long it's been. I think I
oh
met
my
you when I
gosh.
was 21.
Oh
That had to be, yeah, because you couldn't drink yet. I think I remember us not being able to hit the bar because you weren't legally 21 yet. So, and here we are on the verge of 38, right? So, yeah,
God. Oh my goodness.
I know
A long
it is a
time.
long time. Yeah, I was just freshly 21 and you weren't quite there yet. So, beautiful,
Gosh, yes.
beautiful. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Um, So we've got questions pertaining to the root awakening, healing and unlearning, embodiment and alignment, relationship and divine energy and integration and self and higher self. So we'll start with that first question, dealing with the roots here, Andrea. Um, how do you define spirituality, and how does it differ from religion? in your life or work?
Okay. So I feel like spirituality, you're soul led. You're so deeply connected and entwined with everything around you. You're connected to the thread of life. You're connected to how everything is woven and connected together. I feel like in spirituality, it's kind of rigid, everything's super structured, like,
Or
you
in
know,
religion?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
like everything is like in a box. It's very external. If you aren't abiding by the rules, you're kind of demonized. Spirituality, it isn't like that. It's so open. Like I said, it's so beautiful, and you're just connected to everything, all that is, to spirit, to your ancestors, to the plants, to the animals, to everything. You see the life and, like I said, the thread of everything and how it's all
Piece together. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention before I go on to the next question.
okay.
Part of the reason I wanted to start this podcast was because I came across a clip of a woman who was given her own definition of spirituality, and it completely did not embody
Mm,
anything close to who we are as people. And so, um, part of this podcast is to set the record straight as to who we are. A lot of people don't know what it means when people say that we are spiritual people, and they take that to mean something very loose. And that's usually not the case. So, where I'm here to set the record straight on that, on who we are as a people. So, thank you for that. And I do agree, it's very that religion piece of it is very rigid, and it doesn't really give you any space to leave questions or to ask questions or to go outside of what
yep.
what that is. And as soon as you step outside, they're like, don't
Ooh.
ask questions, right?
Yes.
So no, thank you.
Yeah.
um Perfect, thank you. So looking back at your childhood, did you ever feel different within your family or community, and if so, how did that shape your spiritual path today?
Absolutely. I absolutely felt different. Oh my gosh. So I remember growing up, I could see like mathematical equations and music notes just floating in the air. I felt like I was just so deeply connected with nature. Like I would pick up bugs and be examining them and um, running through fields of sunflowers and like feeling like I could communicate with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a nature kid. I was out there.
Oh, that's beautiful,
Yeah.
though.
And I felt so connected to all of it. And, I was kind of looked at, a certain way, being out there in the woods, because Black folks scared of woods. No,
Oh
but
no, and bugs, right? Woods and bugs, and like, yeah.
yes, yes, but I loved it all. Like I was out there, just picking them up, like I said, examining them and just communing with them. I feel like that was my intro into like where I am today, but yeah, I definitely felt different because of that. And I was very emotional, sensitive, empathetic, like
Yeah.
empath, yes, very connected to, the environment, like what people were feeling, what they were going through. And I would like embody that, like take that in and just really be there in the space with them. And very sensitive. I would get teased a lot for that.
Mm.
Yeah, like I remember being teased for that, being called soft because I wasn't, rough.
I can actually relate to that.
Yeah.
I used to, when people would cry, I would cry.
Yes.
Yeah. And then
Like I'm there with you.
yeah. And one day my sister, I don't even know, I can't remember what the deal was, but she got hurt. I started crying, and my grandmother came to me and she goes, "Stop crying, girl." She goes, "You can't cry over everything." And I thought, "Oh, okay."
That's
And
where the hardening comes.
so I stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so wild. Like how that's projected, and then we become desensitized
Yeah,
to those parts of ourselves and we block it. And that leads to other things with us being so detached from how it is we feel and what's going on up in here.
yeah.
Being able to connect in that way, like that is what brings
You
us
get
here,
together.
us to
Yeah.
that interconnectedness. It's what makes us human and just brings us to a space of really being able to connect with people on a deep and real level. So,
And I think that's something that's missing right now is that empathy piece for your neighbor, right? And when you're being told, and even young boys being told not to cry,
yeah,
they don't have empathy for their girlfriends or their wives or their daughters, you know what I mean? And hard for them to feel themselves when they've been told not to.
yep,
And so, you know, leaving that space open for us to be sensitive creatures, and then people wonder why we live in a world that is not kind.
yep,
From young ages, we're told that we're not allowed to feel those things, so 100% that makes us different. Beautiful, beautiful. Um, So, what was the catalyst for your spiritual awakening, and how did it change the way you view the world?
Ooh. Um, there's so many things, but I would say one of the main ones that stands out is my introduction into plant medicine.
Mm.
Um, my mushroom journeys cracked me wide open, and you just cannot unsee a tree having a full conversation with you. Like you,
Yeah, to experience that, one day I will get there. I know I will.
yes, you can't unsee that. I remember during one of my journeys, I remember walking outside and there was this huge tree. I walked up to the tree, wrapped my arms around the tree, and it's like I could feel one, the life of the tree, but all of these messages just coming to me.
Mm.
And it's like the tree was crying, right? Letting me know you have to take care of this. They're not taking care of us, you know? And I was just like, oh my God, yes, I did that.
Oh, that
Sobbing
makes me
tree
so
on the
sad.
tree. Yes, yes. And it was so wild because when I was just observing the neighborhood too, while I was on the journey, I could see all of these different energy streams going into
Mm.
each person's home. And you could feel the stories, the different timelines, like in and out of people's homes, you know? And that was pretty wild in itself, like being able to tap into that and to feel that, to know like everything's super multidimensional. Like this is definitely not linear. And being able to see into people's different timelines like that definitely woke things up within me because it got me to questioning my own timelines, right? And which ones needed to be collapsed. And plant medicine, it allowed me to tap into those spaces within myself and question things, right? So, yeah, like once the question started, I began to see myself in a deeper way. I began to see the complexities, like how all of this is so deeply multi-layered. And the more you know that you don't know. And like having things cracked wide open like that for me, it was like the push, the snap that I needed to want to delve deeper, like to have that drive to want to dive deeper and to know more about what all this is.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That's
yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. I've heard some pretty amazing stories about the plant medicine and what it's done for people. I think I've taken it now twice, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So, I think the strain and the environment play a
Oh,
role, and
absolutely.
probably putting those intentions in there. So I think I probably wasn't all the way ready for it, and so I didn't get there. So, I'm one day, and I'll let you know when that happens.
Yes, because it's so yeah, plant medicine is everything. I even microdosed. During breastfeeding.
Yes.
Yes.
And for those, her son, top-notch kid. That baby he is smart, okay? Like I
Thank you.
brag about him and he is, I see the work that Andrea is doing with him and the journey that she has taken to heal herself, will definitely show up in her child and the future children that she will have. So um yeah, please tell us about the journey about that and how or why you decided to do that.
Yeah, so microdosing. With doing that, it allowed me to have next level type of presence. Like, yeah, I was already present, but it allowed me to dial in to exactly what it is he needed in the moment that he needed it. Like when you have a child, you can hear their different cries, like they have different cries for different things. And it allowed me to deeply tap into that. It allowed me to process everything that I was going through during this new journey, like throughout motherhood and what that meant of me, what it was calling forth for me and how I can show up fully, you know. And so it allowed me to tap into that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Did you do any research on that to see like,
Yeah,
if other people are doing it? Because
absolutely.
because I'm for people that might be watching this might go, oh my God, is that safe? Can you do that? So
Like it's such a little bit, y'all. It's not
yeah.
like full dose, even though there are some moms who do full doses while they're breastfeeding. They have done full doses while they're pregnant and baby comes out smart as a whip. There's a sister, Mama De La Michael. I hope I'm not butchering her name, but she's on IG. She has so many studies, so many women that have hundreds of women that have submitted their stories of their microdosing journeys within breastfeeding and pregnancy. There's so many studies out there that show the benefits of it. If it's something you're interested in, I would definitely do your own research, do your due diligence. Don't take my word for it.
Right, 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 right.
Your own research, because it may or may not resonate. But yeah, there's definitely research out there. Check her out, Mama De La Mico.
Okay.
It's all about,
Perfect.
yeah.
I'm technically challenged, y'all, so I will
I'll send you
figure
the,
out how to get that information in the
yes.
in the information. I don't know below. I think I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah. See here.
perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so here we are going into the healing and unlearning questions. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about healing and spiritual growth?
Yeah. Spiritual growth is not all love and light. It's ghetto. Like
It's
it's
real
not all,
good.
it's so ghetto. Like
It's real
it is
good.
not all love and light, y'all. It's not linear. It's not a destination that you arrive to and yes, like finally I'm here.
Oh.
Yes. It is not that, okay? It is a journey that you can meet so many layers of yourself on if you allow yourself to be open.
Mm.
It's super non-linear. So you're gonna have moments like this. Um, it's an ebb and flow. It feels like a dance, honestly. It feels like a dance. And with each move, you have to give yourself grace. Grace is absolutely important within all of it. But yeah, I would say the main thing being is that it's not a linear, like straight.
It ain't. No, I can 100% speak to that. I think I like Bashar. I watch him often and he said, people think it's this, that down, but he goes, it's really this, you
Oh,
know. You're
yeah.
actually working your way up every time you think you've taken a little dip, right?
Mm,
And so I thought that was a really great way of seeing it to, okay, like you're not dipping and going down, you're
yeah,
dipping
it's a
and then
ride.
coming back up,
I love that because
you
you're
know?
ascending. Like
Yeah.
each time you allow yourself to fully immerse in yourself, you will continue to rise. Yes, Amanda is absolutely spot on with that. And it's so beautiful. Like you just continue to blossom and to flourish. And again, like allowing yourself the grace, even when things get ugly, because it will. That's a part of it. But look, like even within like being in that shit, like look at it as fertilizer, for you to continue to grow and to rise. And yeah, that's definitely how it's been for me, like within my journey, just looking at all the different experiences that I've gone through as a fertilizer, and that fertilizer has been used to help me grow and to keep rising and to keep ascending. And all of us have that, like we're all, even if you feel like you're not growing, you are,
Sure.
you
Yeah,
know.
I say as long as you can take the situation and actually learn something from it,
Yes.
like there, that in itself lies to growth, right? And so if you just keep repeating the same cycles over and over and over again with no lesson, like the situations are going to keep coming back to you. They're going to keep testing you. So,
Yeah.
whenever you're going through, whenever I personally go through something, I ask myself, because I take full responsibility for my entire life. There is nothing happens to me without my permission. And so I would need to ask myself, why am I choosing to do this to myself right now?
Yes.
What is the lesson I
Yes,
need to
isn't it
learn?
so beautiful, like to get to a space to see things that way?
Yeah,
Like you can see the lessons in every single thing. You can see every single situation as a mirror
yeah,
and a catalyst to essentially propel you forward. You are not losing, like whichever way, whichever decision
no,
you decide to make, it will ultimately get you to where you're supposed to be
so
in this lifetime and beyond. Whether you get it within this lifetime or not, you'll eventually get it.
you're
Like,
inching, right?
yeah,
One
yeah,
lifetime after the other lifetime, you're coming back.
yeah,
It's okay.
yep, absolutely. Yep, yes. And things will loop around. That's how the universe is. Like you'll loop around, circle back to it until you get it. And when you get it, you can graduate to the next level.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but healing is not a straight path. What were some of your biggest challenges you faced in your journey?
Oh, mm, some of the biggest one. I would say people pleasing. People
Okay.
pleasing. Yeah, for sure. For me anyway, like when you have like coming from lifestyles that I've lived, like with modeling stuff, like when you have all of these people projecting onto you how they feel you should show up, how you should look, how you should, navigate life, what kind of career you should be having, what kind of person you should be dating. When you have people projecting onto you like that, um, sometimes you want to just fall into the narrative.
Mm,
You may find yourself falling into the narrative unconsciously, and I did that a lot. And yeah, definitely people pleasing, saying yes when I, really meant no. So that ultimately boiled down to boundaries. So I would say one of the biggest things was boundaries, like having that lack of boundary with being able to, communicate what it is I like truly needed from a person, like how I needed them to show
show
up,
up for
whether
you. Yeah.
within friendship, relationship, within business, all the things, right? And that's super important because if you are not speaking from your truth, if you're not speaking authentically, you're sending mixed messages out there into the universe. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna find
100%.
yeah, find
And
yourself in these situations and
on top of that, healing or saying yes to things that your body wants to reject will ultimately make you sick.
Yes.
And, I think something that we have not been taught to do is to trust our body when our body is saying no. And, I said, you will know when your body is saying yes because every cell in your body will light up when somebody says, hey, do you want to do this? Or do you want to do that? Or do you want to go this place or that place? Like, hey, do you want to go tacos or do you want to get burgers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, tacos sound great. Let's go do that, you know? And then they go, well, I kind of wanted to get burgers. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay. It's like, well, why did you ask then if you wanted to get burgers? Like, I want tacos. Can we go to a place that serves burgers and tacos, please?
Yes.
Right? So I think that's a really great point that you brought up. And like I said, you worked in an industry that people were telling you what to do and what to wear and how your hair should be and uh
Girl,
or shouldn't be for that matter, and how thin you should probably be or not to gain
all of
weight
that.
or don't work out hard because we don't want to see them. We still need you soft and lean and you
All of
know
that.
all of that.
Yes.
And when you can't be yourself, hey, I want to grow my hair out. Nope, sorry, you've already
Gotta
created it.
shave it off. Oh, that don't get me started on that. Like that was like one of the major things. I did want to grow my hair out, and they're like, we think you'd be more marketable if you kept it shaved bald. That's more industry standard.
So what, black women can't have hair, and they want you to look what, like authentically African American with no hair because black folks don't have hair, like black women don't have hair. Like, what does that even mean, right? Like, okay.
Wildness. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a rise within like being comfortable with owning my throat chakra, my voice, and being comfortable with that, being comfortable with being seen, being comfortable with being heard, being comfortable with allowing people to tap into my true harmonic, my
Yeah.
true vibration, right? And that comes with honoring boundaries and not being a people pleaser, when you want to say no, say no. That
How
is
do you think that
absolutely
affects
okay.
your personality? Like,
Oh my gosh.
is it hard for somebody that might be stuck in that space to really know who they are as a person if
Right.
they are always saying yes to things that they don't want to say yes to?
You will absolutely not truly know yourself, not authentically, not if you are shaping and molding yourself to fit in a construct,
Mhm.
into a box, because you are afraid of how a person might respond. And that's another thing too. People pleasing, it has a lot to do with fear, fear of rejection, fear of being looked at a certain way, fear of your own power too. And that's ego, like being afraid of your own power, is a lot of ego behind that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, yeah, you won't truly know yourself. You won't truly know who you're made of until you give yourself permission to be fully seen, to be fully heard, and to not people please. Because people love that low key. Like they love when you honor yourself. Like they love when you have those boundaries in place. It's a different kind of respect that you get, like when you're being you.
100%. I think there was a study, and don't quote me, I don't know where I heard this or where it came from, but essentially saying that it was once thought that love was the highest frequency, and now they're saying authenticity is the highest frequency. And so when you show up as yourself, um, in a way that is just fully you, people gravitate toward that.
Mhm.
People see your aura and they see, you can come up with an idea and then somebody will go, oh, but there's already, I mean, even
That's
this
not how you
podcast,
would do it.
right? Like, oh, there's already 100,000 podcasts out there. What's going to make you guys different? It's like
Behind it, baby.
this, so
Everybody got their own unique blueprint, their own unique energy signature. And when you are, yourself in your own authentic blueprint, that allows, I mean, it sends that energy out there for one. And then you have to look, well, you don't have to look at it like this, but how I see it is that's representing a populace, right?
mhm.
So when you are in your uniqueness, it allows other people that are trying to find themselves through that space to be risen up and rise into that space as well. Like that's how we link onto one another and pull each other up. Another person can see you in your power. Another person can see you honoring your truth. And that'll give them inspiration and motivation to do the same thing. And
Yeah,
how beautiful is that?
so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I love that. And so even when I had the idea to do this podcast, I was like, I'm like, for some, it was just like, I think I need to be doing this with Andrea, right? I feel like we both need to um, be open with our voices because we do have powerful stories, and, um, I am excited to be doing this with you. So, and to offer a space where people can be authentic and share their authentic stories without judgment. So,
Yes, for
um,
sure.
judgment free zone all the way. And so, when we get to the point where we're getting comments, y'all, this is a judgment free space, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
um, if you need to judge, judge in silence, because,
Yeah,
uh, okay, let's see. Where are we? Da, da, da. Um, Many people fear stepping into their truth because of judgment
you
or
see.
past conditioning. Um, how did you overcome that?
Well, one was by seeing my reflection in every single person that I cross paths with, but two, hmm, just realizing and embracing my wholeness, like being comfortable with embracing that, like was the main thing. And that took a little developing.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I think, seeing yourself as a whole person can be a very difficult thing to do. Like when you realize that everything you need is inside of you, and this whole time you've been looking outside of yourself to get stuff,
Ain't nobody, listen,
and
you
you're
can
like, wait,
find
I gotta
nobody.
learn how to self-soothe. No,
Yes.
I gotta sit here on this journey, like, and figure out myself. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. But you know what else helped? Was creating little rituals for myself so I can celebrate my wins. So being out in nature, doing free writing, just connecting with my environment.
Yeah.
Free writing being a major tool though, because that allowed me to tap into my voice and to tap into what flows through me,
Can
you
you
know, tap
explain
into
free writing?
spirit. Yeah,
What is that?
so free writing, it's exactly what it sounds like. Get your pen, get your notebook, and just listen. Whatever comes up, whatever comes through heart, you just put that on paper. You don't even have to read it back right away, but yeah, definitely whatever's coming through, get it down on paper and you can revisit it later down the line.
Mhm.
I like to do it early, super early in the morning. I'd say the best time to do it would be around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, where everything is still, and you can hear spirit just flowing through. Or you can do it before bed.
That's beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Thank you for that suggestion.
Welcome.
Um, let's see. All right. Moving into the embodiment and alignment questions. Um, what spiritual practices or rituals have been most transformational for you and why? We are flowing into these
Yeah,
questions, bro.
that's it. Free writing being one of them, but sacred movement, like I love to move my body and just connect. Um, Sitting at my altar, just listening to what flows through from when I'm sitting there. I have a couple oracle decks that I like to shuffle through. Yeah, I forget what it's called, bibliomancy. So
Mm,
this is when you take a book and you just flip to a random page in the book and you just see what you land on and you read it. And every single time I do that, there's a message there, right? So, yeah, that's another thing. My yoni steams, my spiritual baths. Um, spiritual showers. So with my spiritual showers, when I'm doing those, what I like to do, step in the shower, I will visualize the water being different colors. Like, let's say I want to embody some like super sensual energy. I will just visualize the water as red, just washing over me, like cleansing, purifying. Sometimes I will go through each of the colors, and then just focus on all that, just showering me, and just seeing my energy as recharged and renewed. I'll do that for my auric field too. Um, and it helps tremendously. Color therapy. Color therapy in the shower.
Okay, I don't think I've
Yes.
heard that before. So I've heard of color therapy, but I haven't heard it that way. So I like that.
Yeah, I love it. Love, love, love it. I always feel so rejuvenated after. And then with the spiritual baths, I love them so much because when you get in, well, before you get into your bath water, pray over it, speak your intention into your water. Just see it filled with everything that you're looking to embody. I personally like to see it as a pool of me going to connect into another world, and on the like in the other world I'm connecting to my ancestors and guides. So I'll just be fully deeply immersed, with that in mind, with my intention. And then when I go in, or when you go in, like, you can visualize, your guides, your ancestors
Hmm.
around you, washing you, bathing you, pouring into you, pouring love into you, just cleansing you, and then
Yeah,
yeah, I love doing that. It's
beautiful.
it's so nourishing. And then when I let the bath water out, I will visualize all the ickiness, the nastiness, the muddiness, all that being pulled down the drain, and of course shower with the spiritual shower
Oh,
after that. Yeah, just to recharge and to seal my auric field. Um, yeah, I like to visualize different sacred geometry shapes.
mm.
Like, let's say I want to bring a certain type of energy into my home. Like,
Okay.
I can visualize the flower of life, like being in the center of my home, and like seeing that grid like anchor into my space, and just bringing that energy down and then bringing that energy back up, and just completely cleansing, purifying, and sealing my space.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. I love
yeah.
that.
The basic stuff, smudging,
Stuff, right?
so many things. Yeah, yeah, quick fix, get it right.
Crystals and yeah, and you
Uh,
sage
toning,
and
toning forks out.
Palo
Yeah.
Santo, right?
All the things. Yeah, but I weave so many different practices that help to keep me on point and centered. Recently, with Alicia, it's being certified as as an energy healing facilitator. So those practices have been helping me a lot too, because I've learned how to move energy more
Beautiful.
consciously, if you will. Yeah. So, like, being able to project a certain energy into my space to bring in certain vibes, like with whatever it is I want to feel up in here. And
Oh,
it's been nice too, because like when I'm creating jewelry or candles, I can infuse that love and intention into the things that I make with my hands as well. So, yeah.
beautiful.
That
Beautiful.
was
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Da, da, da. Okay. Can you share a moment when you deeply trusted your intuition and it changed your path?
Mm. Moving to Ohio. I would say, yeah, I would say pivoting from a lifestyle that on paper looked good, on paper was lucrative. Um, yeah, pivoting from that to fully trusting myself, trusting a path that I was completely blind to, that was completely unknown to me, and allowing myself to be guided into moving into that space. So for context, I um before I moved to Ohio, I lived in Texas. And everybody who knows me, a city girl.
Right, 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 right.
Life, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, but I had reached a point to where something more was being called of me.
Mm.
And so I'm like, okay, am I going to move back to the Midwest? Am I really going to do this? Like, what is
What's
here?
there? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
husband, son, a complete lifestyle change, me getting to know myself fully, develop an intimate relationship with myself,
Mm.
develop an intimate and more beautiful connection to life, you know, to nature, to the things that I love to create. My voice wasn't blocked, if you will, from outside noise, right?
You
So,
got a chance to think and like feel
yeah.
and be.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, when you leave city life and you're in the middle of nature, and that's all that's around you, all the trees, all the plant life, you feel immersed and held by that. And that changes your frequency, that changes your vibration. And I didn't know I needed that until I got here and I allowed myself to be held in that way, to be held by nature. It's so beautiful when you allow yourself to be held by nature, because you get to meet more of yourself there too and allow yourself to be cleansed and purified by all that green, that heart.
That heart chakra.
Chakra,
Yes.
yes.
I love that.
Yeah, that
And
love.
it is such a different lifestyle, right? And like when you just pick up and decide, like right now, I'm like, okay, I've been in Minnesota my entire life, and it is definitely time, I think, for me to get out of here.
Mhm.
But there's always that little bit of fear to go, okay, am I making the right decision?
Yes.
I can always come home. I feel like, I know that for sure. But, to move your entire life to go, okay, like, so I'm like, I have a couple criteria. I'm like, it needs to be warm by the water and I need to know people there, right? So,
Florida.
um, what-
Yes.
so, which is, way different from being in the Midwest my entire life, So I definitely, commend you on
Thank
taking a route that, and sometimes it's scary and exciting all at the same time because you're like, okay, what's waiting for me? Is it good? Is it bad? Did I make the right choice?
you. Oh my God.
Did I pick the right place to live? Sometimes people move sight unseen. They don't even know where they're going to be living, right? Like you looked at the apartment online and you hope that it's as good as
I
the
didn't.
pictures.
Look what I did. Yes.
Some people move without the right finances or the proper job. And, it's just
And
trust in the process.
just for context with that, with what you just said, I had pivoted from a lifestyle. So I had hit what people would say rock bottom.
Mm.
So finances? What finances? I had my spiritual wealth. It. Everything else figured
Money?
out.
What
What
is
like
that? They make that?
yes. It was so wild because I had sold everything. And this is what happened. I got a call. Spirit's like, okay, if you want to see any kind of real change, any real authentic change in your life, this is what you need to do.
Mm.
And I listened. So got rid of all my materialistic things, diamond, like all that stuff. Sold everything, gave everything away, right? Girl, I had taken some jewelry and I put it in my neighbor's mailbox. Like I was stuff
Oh,
like
you wasn't even selling stuff. You was just
no,
like, take it.
I was like, I'm like, this is how committed I am to this call because I felt like it was a drop kick. Like if you don't make this move, you will be sucked into a path, into a timeline that isn't of your highest.
Mm.
So you need to make this shift.
Gotta go.
You
Go
gotta
on.
go. Yes. And so I listen. Was it scary getting rid of all? Listen, I like my security now.
Girl,
So
for those of you guys who don't know, Andrew and I are both Virgos. So that groundedness is
important.
the scariest thing to give away.
Mm-hmm.
It is unlike like when you need to unravel everything that you built, or it just becomes unraveled through no
Yes.
fault of your own, right? Like it is the scariest thing to feel like that stability is coming up from underneath your feet and it causes the panic. Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. All of that. All of that. Gone.
It's gone. Not to mention, I feel like, sometimes we like nice things, right? Like we
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong
no,
with love and
no,
luxury. There's not
no, nothing wrong with
none at
it.
all. That is my birthright. You know what I'm
Okay. So I ain't mad at it, but it's sometimes, and I'm in a space now where I I think about the things that I used to have,
saying?
right? And then I look at the thing at where I'm at now and I'm like, it truly is this,
Yeah,
where I'm
absolutely.
like, okay, I used to have this and I used to have that. Now I don't have this, but instead I have this, right? And so it's
Yes.
like, okay, yep, I used to model and be on the cover of magazines, and now I have a husband and a beautiful son. You know what I mean? Like you gave up
Absolutely.
that, but you gained this, and it's
That's how it is.
it's how it is.
How it is. Yes. And what's so beautiful, and me allowing myself to create that space around me and inside of me, I was able to attract the things that were truly in alignment with what I really need. And had I have still been in an environment with all the projections, all the noise, all of the nonsense, I wouldn't have been able to I wouldn't have been able to magnetize the things that I have been able to magnetize to myself. It just wouldn't have happened because I had the opportunity to shed all of wasn't mine. I had the opportunity to really get to know myself deeply, like what we talked about earlier, like tapping in true, authentic, energetic signature, and then sending that out and rippling that out, you know, things that I really needed, things that were truly in alignment began to magnetize to me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that comes from stepping into the unknown, just allowing yourself to be truly held, allowing yourself to allow the universe to do what it does once you take
Love
that
on
step.
you. Yes.
That's
Love
all
on.
the universe want to do. Love on you and give you everything your
you.
heart desires.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say, I tell people, I said, the universe is so generous. God is so generous. The Most High is so generous and can only assume that you are talking about the things that you love, right? And so, why would you talk about things that you hate? And I think that we, as humans, we sometimes we know what we don't want. Sometimes it's hard for us to express what we do want.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're constantly saying, oh, well, I don't want a man that got this, and I don't want, and the universe doesn't hear don't.
Mm-hmm.
All it hears is, I want a man that ain't got no job. I want a man who ain't, you
Would
know what I mean? And so
you get that polarity,
you get it.
that
You get
pendulum
the things that you
swing?
talk about. You get
Yeah.
the things, because why would you put energy towards something that you don't want,
Ooh, that
you
part.
know? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that I just 100, it's amazing.
Yes, truly.
I love it. Okay, where are we at? So,
Ooh, before we move on,
yeah,
one more thing I wanted to add to that.
yes,
That allows one to have an unwavering trust to allow yourself to be so held. Like when you do that free fall, when you make the leap and you do that free fall, you may feel like, the air, all that stuff, things just falling. But then eventually, like you feel yourself being held and you're like, oh,
this
all
is
I needed to do was to
Let me
do this. All I needed to do is just jump and just to trust you. All right,
And
bet.
and that trust too, right? I think, and here's another difference between religion and spirituality, in my opinion. Um, yes, we have, because I believe that God is us, right?
Yes.
That trust becomes trust in yourself. And, when you in the religion piece, when you outsource that trust to say, oh, you know what I mean, like this other deity is has got me, right? But in reality, it's you catching yourself
Yes, absolutely.
and showing up for yourself and learning how to trust yourself. We talked about intuition earlier, right? And it's like, how can you trust your own intuition? How can you trust those feelings that are coming up inside of you
Hmm.
if you're outsourcing that, and going, okay, like, well, God wouldn't want me to do this. Well, how do you know? You know what I mean? Like you read something in a book or somebody told you a thing and your own God inside of you was telling you to go left and you're really saying, but the Bible is telling me to go right, baby, go left.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
Take that road less traveled and see where it takes you.
Yes.
Because I'm telling that fear, the fear of your life will keep you stuck. Not
Mm.
starting that business, not doing that podcast,
Yes.
right? Not moving to that place where you know you should be,
Yes.
not getting rid of those friends or that partner that you know you need to get rid of.
Absolutely. Mm.
So,
Environment. Yeah.
the fear of being alone, this is can be a lonely journey.
That's another thing too. And I feel like it's a lonely journey because you need time to get to know yourself.
That's it.
You need time to get to know your own energetic blueprint because from birth, we're indoctrinated into thinking, okay, I'm supposed to be this way. This is my name. Okay, this is my neighborhood. These are the family members that I have that I'm supposed to stay in this construct with. It's not until we step outside of that, like what Amanda was just elaborating on, like when you step out of that fear, like then you get to truly know without a doubt, like who you are, what you're made of, but you need that time in solitude. You need that time away again from all of the noise so you can truly hear and truly get to know yourself and develop that relationship with your voice.
And I think getting to understand what you believe in,
Yes.
truly, what you truly believe in, because and what you value and
Mm,
what your morals are, right? Because when you are surrounded by people who have handed you the template of who you think you're supposed to be, right? You're a Black woman in America, therefore you are you're automatically a Democrat and you're automatically Christian and you're automatically, you automatically got three baby mamas or you automatically got, you know what I mean? Or, three baby daddies and you got three kids and, but you got a college degree, you know what I mean? There's so many
yes.
things, contexts
Yes.
that are happening in here. And, when you can truly step away to ask yourself, did I choose to believe these things?
Right.
Or were these things handed to me on the template of my life?
Have to deprogram.
Yeah,
It's necessary.
100%.
Absolutely necessary. Yeah.
Lovely. You ready? Move on. Okay. Okay. How do you stay grounded and aligned when life feeds you chaos and uncertainty?
Yes, so I have to make sure I am grounded at all times and just being mindful of what's in my space, what's in my energetic space, what's in my energetic field. So I'll scan, and if there's something that feels foreign, I'll address that. And a lot of times I won't even send it back to the person. I'll send it back to source to be transmuted, alchemized, and turned into something beautiful. Yeah. Yep. So, oh, go ahead. Go
Thing
ahead.
I say in the shower, I say uh, from the north, from the south, from the east to the west. I return all of my energy back to me. And I release all energy that does not belong to me, clean, cleansed, and ready to use for the highest purpose of the universe.
I love that.
Okay?
I love that something you said. I love that so much. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that like you said, that transmutation or that, the alchemy of, every day we are around people, we are in spaces and sometimes we bring things home that doesn't necessarily belong to us. And
Yep.
it's important to let it go.
Yep. Absolutely. So when I bring out the aura mist, so just spray in my auric field. You can spray yours. Get you a bottle of sea salt water. Just spray around you, or you can put let's say you want to fortify your energetic field. You can just make yourself a spritz with some essential oils because that the plant life, the flowers, the flower essences, they hold a specific energy signature.
Mm.
Rose being of
Oh,
the
wow.
highest vibration. Yeah, so rose water spray, just spray around, spray before you go, spray when you come. Well, you're gonna shower and all that when you come back, but
Right.
spray when you come back, yeah, to keep yourself fortified and just do that throughout the day.
Yeah.
Check in with yourself. Well, I like to check in with myself and again, like ask myself, is this mine? Like if I'm feeling something's off, I'll ask myself, is it mine? And then sometimes I'll even see the energy cord that is connected to the person
Mm.
that it's connected to. And then from there, I can decide if I want to collapse that tether or if I would like to continue communication. So that's cord cutting. So you just, do your cord cutting ceremony. I like to do my cord cutting ceremonies, um, new and full moons, or whenever I feel is necessary.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's how you stay in tune with your own energy too, is just making sure you are always aware of
Checking
what's
for it.
going on here. Have that awareness, it truly helps to navigate this experience because you want to make sure you move in your own energy and not being so influenced by external forces because um that can detour you and that detour, you know, it may get you off your path a little bit and you may have to circle back and take a little longer than expected to get to something that you're working on or working through.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I always say, getting into a rhythm of meditation is so important because if you don't understand what your thoughts sound like, it
Mm.
is so hard to distinguish the ones that come through that are not yours.
Yes.
And we live in a grid, right? I say, how many times have you been in a situation where you're like, I was just thinking that, or somebody else said, oh my God, you said it out loud, right? And so I'm like, was it their thought? And then you said it out loud, or vice versa?
Mm.
So honestly, I think sometimes we catch people's thoughts
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and they when they come out of nowhere, you're like, but if
Yeah.
you don't know what your own inner voice sounds like, or if you even have one, I've heard people don't have inner voices. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. That's a question for another day, but um, so if you don't know what your own inner voice sounds like, it can be extremely difficult for you to distinguish what's yours. And then I think oftentimes people end up acting out on thoughts that don't even belong to them.
Not even theirs. It's not even theirs.
So you're holding yourself accountable for a thought and it belonged to Susie next to you. She was eating them chips and the girl depressed and thinking about doing stuff to herself. And now all of a sudden you're
Oh,
wondering why you're thinking about,
yes.
offing
Oh my
yourself. And you're like,
God.
I ain't never had no thought like that before. Where did that come from? Susie, take
Yes.
your shit back, okay?
Oh my
Don't get
God.
this. Don't bring this over here.
Oh my gosh. You know what else helps me? Is fasting. Fasting
Mm.
helps so much. Oh my gosh, because I can get rid of all of that residue and make that sacrifice and offering to the universe. Like I'm willing to cut back, to lighten myself up, but to strengthen my energy, right? So, I remember there was this one time, my husband laughs about this all the time. I fasted for 9 days, no food, no water. Just
Strong,
crazy.
strong.
Yes. Oh my God.
I be.
That's how I was up in this piece. Now, I would not recommend this. Don't do that. Do not,
Don't
please.
do it.
Don't do it. I was a little extreme. But it helped me to lighten up my load a lot.
Mm,
Giving back that much. Like, hey, God, I am willing to not consume.
mm,
I am willing to give this up to show, like, hey, okay, like this is where I'm at. I am not just a consumer out here. And I felt like lifetimes of stuff just,
just fell off.
hmm
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Breath work is another thing that helps. Um, yeah, so with that, I feel like I'm breathing life into parts of um myself that need life. Like when I am so deeply immersed in breath work, it just brings so much to the surface. And yeah, I get to just address those things and let it go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. That's one thing I want to get more into is the breath work.
So powerful.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
psychedelic now. Oh my gosh. We did.
It's like the deal. It's like, is this DMT or is this a breath work? Where are we at? So, yeah, that's a section I do want to get more involved in. So,
You will for
um,
sure enjoy it.
okay. So on to relationships and divine energy.
Mm.
Um, how do spiritual beliefs and practices influence the way you navigate your marriage
Oh my man.
and other relationships with friends, family? Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to see everybody as a mirror, and see them as mirroring back into me archetypes of myself that I get to know deeply, or
Mm,
shadows that I need to address, right? And yeah, it allows me to get to know myself like on a deeper level when I see people in that way, like as a sacred mirror.
yeah.
Yeah. It's helped tremendously. Yeah, let
I
me
would
rephrase
say,
the question though, so I could go a little deeper. So how do spiritual beliefs and practices influence the way? Yeah, that's the main thing. Like seeing people as a mirror. Now, had I have done that, in past relationships, I wouldn't have looked at these people like, oh, this person is providing me with this thing. Like they're this way and they're bringing this certain thing out in me. It
mhm,
was me experiencing my own energy, like being reflected in me. So I think that's like one of the main things too. When it comes to like even with friendships, it's just, yeah, again, like seeing people as a divine reflection. And like when you do that too, like it's allowed me to give past relationships grace and compassion like because I get to see, oh, that thing that you did to me, like that's actually me and there's a part of
take it
me
to
doing that
myself. Yeah.
to myself. I cannot blame you. And when you allow yourself to view things that way, it again can allow you to dive deep and address your stuff, because you're not blaming this person that you were in a relationship for treating you this way. It's like, okay, well, how am I doing this to myself? Like, in what area of my life am I doing this? You know?
I think one thing about this spiritual journey has taken me on, and again, the difference between my spiritual journey and my religious journey is the accountability piece.
Mm.
right? That you were just talking about. And when I was in the church, everything was, oh, the devil's after me. And you know what I mean? There's this whole idea that there is an entity outside of yourself, sending bad things into your life. And, the devil made me do it. You know what I mean? When it's like, no, in real life, you made a choice
Yeah,
and you need to own the decision that you made.
absolutely.
And so now I joking, I say, I said, I used to make bad decisions unconsciously, and now I make them consciously if I choose to do them, right? Like, you know what? Like, I understand exactly what I'm doing, and I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, just for the excitement of the movie. Like, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. Well, because
It
I
keeps things interesting, right? You got to keep it spicy.
mean, I say, if you were watching the movie of your life right now, like, would you be in tune with that? Would you want to watch it? Is it interesting enough for you to watch, or are you changing the channel, right? So sometimes I think we throw in a little drama every now and then just to keep things interesting. Otherwise, movie's not worth watching.
Yes. Yes, yes. But yeah, accountability, like that is major. Once I began to look at the energetic archetype that every single person that I have encountered represented, that changed the game for me.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, okay, this represents the energy signature. It's not the person.
No, it is truly, and I say people end up in the same relationship with different people,
That's so
right?
true.
And it's just
Yeah,
you picked out one person because of whatever circumstances, but you haven't necessarily healed yourself. And
that
so you continue to attract the same archetype over and over and over again
so you get
until you decide that this isn't something that you want. So if someone's treating you badly or talking to you badly and you are internally accepting that because in some way, shape, or form you think it's something that you deserve,
mm,
you will continue to attract that. And until you say, you know what, no, I'm better than this.
yeah.
And if you don't talk, and I'll bring up this point too, how
Mhm.
do you talk to yourself? Because the way that you talk to yourself when nobody is listening,
Mm.
if
Ooh.
you are constantly putting yourself down, that is what you're vibrating out into the universe. If you talk to yourself that way, you will allow other people to talk to you any kind of way.
Yes. So that could be the universe strengthening a person's boundaries. Like, okay, I'll keep bringing you back to this until you get the message that you just need to strengthen and have better boundaries. And until you get it, we gonna circle the block. Like you're gonna have to keep dealing with this until you get it.
100%.
That's another thing too, with the archetypes, because it takes blame from people, and then we can have more compassion for the person because maybe something happened to them, and now they have this spirit of something that's lingering with them that they have to play out because it's something that they have to learn. And maybe they have to learn it through you, or maybe they have to learn it through somebody else. Either way, the lesson has to get
We've
learned.
learned
So you
100%.
can keep, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that. Anything else on that?
No, that's
Okay.
about it. That's the main thing is that, we're all reflections of one another. Use that mirror, to fortify yourself in a beautiful way.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
What role do you believe the divine feminine or masculine energy plays in our collective healing?
Ooh, that one is so loaded. Oh my gosh. So I feel like we need the balance, like when things are in balance, that brings together divine sacred union. If you have too much of one, things can be so polarized, right? So with the feminine, like it's super nurturing, it's super loving, can be super protective, right? And then you have that masculine energy that's all about safety, like he brings, or not he, because we all have masculine and feminine energy.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you bring those two together, when you bring those two energies into a marriage with one another, like things are just so much more harmonious.
Yeah.
Things are so much more balanced. And when they're both in disarray, like that's when you see crazy things happening in the world because people have not created that balance within themselves. They may be trying to outsource for it, thinking that, okay, I'm a woman, so I have to outsource masculine energy from a man. Or I'm
Mm-hmm.
a man, my woman has to be super, you know, super feminine. But there needs to be a balance. Like you can't be too polarized
Yeah. You gotta
area.
have. So,
Yeah.
um, so I guess with that question, it's like, what's first? If a woman feels like she's, more on the feminine side and not sure how to bring in that masculine energy, you know, how does one go about doing that? And actually, I that's a question for me, right? I literally just had that conversation with a friend, and I'm like, my power is in the spiritual realm, and for me to bring things out of that sometimes seems a little difficult, right? And because my friend is more, he can, man, like money's like, okay,
Action. Yeah.
the
Super action
things,
oriented.
right? He can
Yeah.
he can call these things in, and I'm like, I sit back and I go, I know that these things are available to me,
Mhm.
but I need to learn how to tap into this other side of me in order to access it. And so this is currently something that I am struggling, that I don't want to say struggling with it, but I'm aware of
Yeah.
it and want to go about so me doing projects like this and getting my voice out and just like practicing some of these things, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's dig out some of this masculine energy, you know what I mean? And this is not a I don't think this is a masculine setting, but just learning how to do things a little bit differently and like speaking
Cool.
out and making myself known and putting myself out there in a different way. But um yeah, so that is something that I am currently working on. So
So I recently learned too, that if you are, it's breath work. So if you are experiencing too much feminine energy, then you can do, okay, let me get this right nostril breathing. And if you are, I hope I'm not butchering this, but it's alternate nostril breathing,
I've
right?
heard
And
about that. Yeah.
yeah, it balances the different hemispheres of the brain. And then you can do one or the other, or you can alternate between both. So what I like to do to make sure I'm balancing both, I'll do one side in the morning, about 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes more of the other side.
So do you literally just go any type of rhythm or just in and out, in
In
and
and out. Yep.
out? Okay.
And then,
Okay.
so when I do alternate, like let's just say I just want to focus on balancing both, just breathe in through one and breathe out the other side.
Oh,
It just
interesting.
balances, both polarities, both sides of your brain, and it brings all of that into homeostasis.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
So
I'll be
just
I'll be
practice
adding that
it.
practice to my, yeah, and we'll see how that rolls. Okay.
Yes, it
That's
helps. It helps. I remember doing a session of it one day, and that's when we hopped on last time. I just felt like super girly and feminine. I'm like, okay, I could rock with this. Let me
yes.
let me keep this up.
And you were super cute that day too, so
Thank you.
super cute. Yes. I love
Yes.
it.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh. Yes. But again, like when it comes down to the masculine and feminine energy, like we need both. It's just finding a balance between both. So with the feminine energy, like find things that you absolutely love to create, like things that get you into that creative energy, like things that get you into birthing things from the ether and using that masculine energy to actualize it. So that's just putting the action steps in place, tapping into that Virgo nature, making your list, you know, not putting too much on it, but just making the list and okay, this is what do I need to do in order to, get this done, right? Better yet, what kind of energy or vibration do I need to embody to actualize this
Mm.
thing? What does this person look like? How does she dress? How does she speak? What kind of people is she around? And then that begins to usher in that masculine element to help bring things into balance as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for those tips, girl. Yeah.
Awesome, babe. Hey.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yes, I'm for
Um,
sure working through that masculine and feminine thing too. Because I feel like, um, do the feminine thing with nurturing, caring for the home. But on the flip side, I love to create and share my creations with people. Like I could pump stuff out like hotcakes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, but it's just, again, like with what you were saying, just getting things out there. So I'll be following the same things that I was just saying, be doing the same
Same
exact thing.
things. All
Yeah.
right.
But I feel like, with what we're doing now, it's definitely a start
It is.
and it'll
So
it'll just
exciting.
compound. Yeah.
And we've been talking about this since what, December?
Yeah, December, January, one of those. Yeah.
And we're like, we're not going to let another season roll by without this coming out, right? We've been talking about it, and it's time that we follow through, right? And I think that comes that trusting yourself, right? Like you say you're going to do something,
Just do
and then
it.
you do it.
The
All
four
right.
agreements.
Work
Be impeccable with your
with your
word.
words. First book I read this year. Yes.
Yes.
I
Oh,
love that. All
yeah.
right. Last question.
Cool.
Um, let's see.
Mm.
Integration and higher self. If you could go back and give your younger self one message from your higher self, what would it be and why?
Hmm. I would say trust your voice.
Mhm.
Just trust your voice. It's so powerful. It holds such a beautiful resonance, a beautiful harmony that has the ability to ripple out and make shifts, even if you don't see the shifts. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. So just trust.
I love that.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. So, yes. So I think this 100%. This concludes our first episode of Unboxed with Lucky Vibrations with Miss Andrea. So exciting. So
Yes.
exciting. So exciting. So I do want to thank you for sharing a piece of yourself with us here today and being on this journey with me and connecting in a way that he said we brought this back full circle. And at some point, hopefully we might can find the person that brought us together and say thank you, right?
Gosh. Man. Make some phone calls, do some research, something. Wanting to ripple that out there. I appreciate you.
Yes, yes, thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah, man,
yeah,
I'm so grateful. Like, I feel like one, this is the year of the snake, right? So everybody's just shedding, right? And allowing that new skin to emerge and allowing themselves to truly be seen and to truly be heard. And I'm just so grateful that you paid heed to the call that came through to bring this together. It's so needed. Platforms like this, yes, they're absolutely needed for us to get these stories out there. So people are seen, so people are heard, so people are not forgotten about. So people have a place to connect and to be seen and to be felt in their truth, in their authenticity. And so, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for putting this together.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, until next time, guys, this is Unboxed with Lucky Vibrations, and thank you for joining us on our first episode.
Aw.
And let me figure out how to stop recording. Okay, there we go.